Good morning.
Welcome.
It's Sunday, December 3rd, 2023, and we're happy to join you for this holiday season. December, it starts, the day after Thanksgiving. People rush to get their decorations up and all the sales start. And so for women especially, it's clear it's the holiday season. So we're glad. Bob's saying, wait, Christmas isn't for a month.
Yeah. Christmas is the 25th. We'll celebrate it then.
So you don't understand. But at any rate, we're happy to have you with us here this morning. Our title is
You're not alone.
Bob came up with the title. You are alone.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
You're not alone. You're not
For a
alone.
second, it felt that way. Yeah.
Lively or lonely.
Yeah. So if you'll all put yourselves on mute, that'll really be great.
We can mute
I think I
everyone.
didn't. I
You
didn't do that. No,
You don't have to do that.
no, I'm sorry.
He's pushing the wrong button.
That's right.
Okay, so this has to go on participants.
Participants. And that's not it. You'd think we'd never done this before.
PAR. Here it is, participants.
Okay.
And then at the bottom you say mute all.
There we go. We're going to do this.
We can't wait to talk to you all, but after we do the talk, okay?
Right. Yeah, for those of you that are joining us for the first time, we have a wonderful conversation afterwards. Sometimes I think the conversation we have afterwards is more interesting than what we had before.
Because it's participatory.
That may be, and people have lots of thoughts, and we have some very bright people in our organization here. So,
indeed. So the title is "You Are Not Alone," and I know what that was your title, and I published a title called "The Holidays." Lovely or lonely, that's what the title was.
Yeah.
I gave, but in a lonely sense, we are talking about both. It can be lonely in that you will remember perhaps many Christmases with loved ones who are no longer with you, either in body or in spirit, and so we can miss them. Or but the topic that Bob really had in mind was feeling alone in your spiritual journey, feeling alone in your spiritual manifestations. By manifestations, I'm talking about, what we claim as what we want to experience,
love, money, and health.
to be, do, and have. And sometimes we feel very alone, like it's all up to me to create that, to manifest that in my life. And because our teaching truly does teach that if it is to be, it's up to me. I have to claim it. I have to start the process by desiring it and claiming that I can have it. But we're not alone in creating it.
And you just basically took everything I was going to say.
And I didn't start with an opening prayer.
No.
So let's start
Just
with an
forget
opening
that
prayer.
you just said anything, and we'll
let you start all over again.
Go ahead.
Okay, yeah. So let's just go within
and center ourselves.
Yes, and center ourselves and be connected in that inward sense with all that is, with the power and the source of all life, the source that we call God, that we call life, that we call love, that we're always connected to. And sometimes when we close our eyes, we feel that connection greater. And that's what we're doing right here, right now, as we know that we're never alone. We cannot be alone because we are one with this source. We are one with it. So it's impossible to be alone. And it is with us and creating with us and for us. And so when we know that truly and allow ourselves to feel it, we know that there are many, many with us in this journey of co-creation. In fact, we call it co-creation because we know we are not alone. And so we give thanks for knowing that we are always loved, supported, and are with our loving support of spirit, of guides, of whatever we are tuned with in spirit. So we give thanks, we release, and together we say, and so it is.
See, one of the things that our teaching has done, which is really, I think, really valuable, is it has put us in charge of our own being. It has put us as responsible for the way our lives work. For a lot of people who have a different background of teaching, no matter if it happens and it's good, it wasn't because of them, it was because of Jesus, it was because of whatever deity they may have in mind, whatever it is that they hold higher than themselves. And when they hold that higher,
Yeah.
right, but when they hold it higher than themselves, they hold themselves in a lower place. And so our teaching is about taking responsibility for your thoughts, for your course of action, for whatever you're going to do, for the vision you have, and for the things that you say, do, and how you act that interrupt or interfere with that objective or with that which you would like to see come about. And so I think the teaching is really wonderful in that sense, but what it also can do is it can actually have you feeling more and more like it's all about you. It's just you're in this by yourself. And an example, I've used it before, but I'm going to use it again because I think it's a very powerful example. I was driving through the Pocono Mountains many, many years ago with a sports car that was designed to go as fast as I wanted it to go, and I was loving it. And I was by myself. I was alone, so I thought. And I heard a voice from behind me. It sounded exactly like it was sitting behind me in the little seat that the sports car had. And it said, "Slow down around the next corner." Well, I don't know why, if I slowed down because of what I was instructed to do, or because I was so startled to hear a voice that loud in the back of the car. I hit the brakes, rounded the corner, and there was a 3-car accident. And it's clear to me I would have piled right into it. And why I'm sharing that with you, it was my journey. I chose the car, I chose the speed, I chose where I was going to go, and I was in control of all of that and responsible for all of that. But I also was available for, apparently, guidance from another source that is also with me all of the time. And that source that is with me all of the time was the source that was required for me to be able to live, because I would have died, I think, in that accident at the speed that I was going had I not been given some support. Many years later, fast forward, 2014, September the 9th, I'm laying in bed asleep. And I was at the time sleeping by myself, not because of relationship difficulty, but Judith had occupied the entire bed with a broken arm and a cast. And so she was in one room and I was in another room on a mattress on the floor. And all of a sudden I heard a voice that said, "Get up." And so I sat up. It startled me. And when I sat up, my arm hit the wall and I realized I was having a stroke. I also found out when I got to the hospital, by the time I got through the emergency room or into the emergency room, that had I waited another 30 minutes, I probably wouldn't be speaking to you today. I might be alive, but I wouldn't have the use of my right side. I wouldn't have had the use of skilled speaking or any of that. So what I know is that I think often that I am alone and I'm responsible for everything. And I am responsible in the sense that I have to choose the course. I have to type in my GPS of life where I want to go. But there's also a course director. There's also directors that are behind the scenes that we don't see. And that's so, so important for us to realize. We can call it the angelic realm, we can call it spirit, we can call it whatever we want to call it, but we're not in this by ourselves. And that's a really, really, really important thing for us to know and for us to take into heart. Last, before I turn it back over to Judith, is I was counseling with a woman who was usually late. And whenever she was late for her appointment, she would always apologize and say, I get caught up in stuff. Traffic was heavy. And it was always her fault. And then she showed up one time. Yeah, well, that was, she said it was always her fault. Yeah, that was that's my fault. I'm sorry. I'll try to do better. One time she showed up on time and I said, wow. I said, that's wonderful. She said, it's not me. I said, well, who got you here? I think Jesus. And I said, so help me out here. Jesus is wonderful in all the ways that you can imagine Jesus being wonderful, but do you ever get any credit for your successes? She said, oh no, it's always Jesus. Do you ever get any credit for your failures? She said, always. See, what we have is a teaching that says that you're responsible for your successes and for your failures, but you're not alone with them. That you have responsibility to figure out from your failures what you can do and how you can manifest a change and work with your life in a way that works better. You're not alone. And that is so critical, particularly now when there's so much upheaval in so many places in the world and even in our neighborhoods, and sometimes even in our condo complex. With all of that, thinking that you're alone is probably just one more disadvantage that you're going to have to suffer.
So I want to go back to this business of angels and
Uh-huh.
maybe even guardian angels. I grew up a Catholic, and we were all told we had each had a guardian angel. And there were lots of angels, and there were lots of saints to pray to, and whatnot. And yet, when I got into this teaching, angels were described as messengers from God. So which is accurate. Which is accurate.
So I got
But
that message.
my interpretation of that was that therefore angels don't exist. And I'm changing my mind about that. I'm thinking that all kinds of support exists. Well, many of us are aware of our guides because of messages like Bob God. He doesn't know the source of that. He just knows it was helpful. And I've had similar guidance, and I don't understand it, but it was definitely helpful. And so I'm very clear that there are beings, lots of them, that love us and are doing their best to help us. And so when we acknowledge them or try to tune into that or give thanks for it, we encourage that help. You're not alone. You're not alone in your manifestations and in your desires. You are constantly being loved and supported by source, by whatever you call that source. And I do believe personal guides and even angels. So I don't know that there's anything that you need to do about that except to not feel alone.
Well, how that changes us, though, is imagine that you're in a very difficult situation. You're standing in this very difficult situation, and it's really, really scary, like me disappearing from moment to moment on the screen. You're standing in this very difficult situation, and it's very, very scary. And you turn around, and there's 150 individuals applauding you, encouraging you, saying, "What you can do this. We're with you." And you turn back to the situation that you're in, and it's not the same situation. And so everything changes when you know that you're supported and encouraged and empowered by the something more that there is in this world than we often give ourselves, we allow ourselves to even consider. There's lots of stories, and I can't pin one down right now, but I remember an actor talking about a dream that he had about what he was going to do, and there was just no way that it was possible. And then later he also dreamed that he would be getting an Oscar, and there was no way that was possible. Anyway, he became a famous star, and all of those things were possible. All of those things happened. If you can dream it, you can see it, you can have it, but it doesn't mean you're going to get there by yourself. I decide where I want to go, and I have to get in the car sometimes and drive. The car is the vehicle sometimes that gets me where I want to go. But until I decide where I want to go, the car is doing nothing. So one of my questions to all of you is, where would you like to go? And are you on your way? And are you allowing yourself to be supported by all that there is that is in support and in favor of you? Or do you find yourself feeling that you are so alone that you really can't take that step, or that you're afraid to take a step because of the aloneness that is overwhelmingly present for you all of the time?
So I know many of you, and I know that you have different experiences, and that's as it should be. And some of you hear messages from well, in my case, sometimes it's from loved ones who have departed, but also some of you have spirit guides that you listen to that serve you well. And so, we honor those, we thank them. So there are different talents with that. There's different ways of knowing. There's hearing, that's called clairaudience. Clair means light in French. And so it's like different ways of getting the light. So there's clairaudience, there's clairsentience, which is just feeling, can feel the presence sometimes of spirit or entities. There is clairvoyance is seeing. People who have clairvoyance will often see something that others of us can't see. So it's not seeing with the eyes, it's seeing with the light. And so that, did I mention just knowing? What is that called?
Claire knowing.
but sometimes it's just a knowing and you don't know how you
Yeah.
know. So there are different ways, and I think we need to pay attention to those. And I think the single biggest thing you can do if you want to experience some of this and you don't know how, just start meditating. Because when you start meditating and keep it up, it becomes the favorite thing you do all day because it feels so good. So, I mean, at first it feels stringent and boring and boring sometimes. And have I done my 20 minutes yet? But before you know it, you're doing an hour and it passes in an instant. But when you do that, what you're doing is practicing stilling your own verbal talking all the time, and mental talking, I mean, not verbal talking, mental talking all the time. And so when you quiet that, then you're more receptive to hearing or seeing or knowing um, messages from spirit. And I say spirit kind of generically because I don't exactly know the source.
Yeah,
But if it feels good and it feels enlightening, in other words, it lightens you up, it makes you happy, it's a good source.
I remember very often going on nature walks with people and taking people, and when I would take people on a nature walk, one of the things I would say is start listening and stop talking, and stop talking out loud. And if you can, stop talking inside. And when the inside and the outside are quiet, the ears and the heart and the soul can hear. And people would be offended when I would tell them that initially. And then by the time we got to the end of the walk, they said, I think I have a hard time getting out of my own head. I think I have a hard time actually being where I am outside and what's around me. And I think we have that problem all the time, is that we're not aware of anything other than our own self-talk. And if that self-talk isn't inviting a larger awareness, then it makes us small. And at times when we don't want to be small.
Indeed. So this holiday season, I would like you to focus on, even if you have loved ones who are no longer with you, remember with joy the good holiday seasons that you had. Remember the good times, because that also brings them closer to you in spirit. When we, what is an old saying? When you smile, the world smiles with you. When you frown alone, or is it cry, you cry alone? One of those. But it really is true. When we are of a happier vibration, it's a higher vibration. We attract more of that good feeling, good vibration to us of our loved ones that may be in spirit, and so they help you feel good as well. You're allowed to feel a little sad about people you miss and experiences that you had, but don't dwell on it. Don't dwell on it, and find people and friends in the here and now to enjoy yourself. That is up to you to start that process. And then know that you have so much help in the spirit realm that really is with you, will help your manifestations, and will love you and be so happy to do it with you. So enjoy practicing that and trying that.
It's up to us. It's our journey, and we need to choose. If we're going to choose if we're gonna have a life, and we are gonna have it as long as we're here, we need to choose how it's going to unfold. We need to pretend that there's a GPS we need to program every day. And I program my GPS on any good day with what will uplift, encourage, and empower me. What will I do today that will serve? How can I best serve? And my GPS takes me all kinds of places that would have me do those things and do them well. Or I can say another day, I can't believe this is just Tuesday and I'm waiting for Friday, and when will the weekend be here? And then what I will observe are all of the reasons that I look forward to Friday. And unfortunately, we do a lot more of that than we think we do, which is why I said some time ago, I used to say, I got to go to work. And now I say, I get to go to work. I get to be the one who's steering the ship rather than the ship steering me. And that's an important piece.
So would you like to close us with a closing?
Sure. So I won't ask us to come together because we are together. We have been together and we will always be together. We are together in many dimensions. We are connected in many dimensions. All that is good flows through us. Light and healing and prosperity all flow through us. beauty and light flow through us. So today we decide to focus on those things, to allow those things to manifest fully and completely in our being. We allow ourselves to listen to the music of life as it plays for us, not behind us, but for us and with us. We say thank you for all the gifts that have been received and the gifts that we know are that are forthcoming. We say thank you for the friendships and the relationships that we have, because in saying thank you, we bring those things closer to us and bring a light to those things and allow them to shine even brighter. Knowing this to be true, all of this to be true, I say thank you. And together we say, and so it is.
And so it is.
We're going to share a screen now. Yeah.
Green one.
And this is just a little thing we need to do every week because we want this ministry to continue to grow and thrive. For those of you that would like to support this ministry, and if you're not supporting this ministry and because it just doesn't give you what you need, find something that does give you what you need and support that, because whatever you support will grow your consciousness. We're asking, of course, that you support us because it helps us to thrive and to grow our services. You want to tell them how they can do that?
Oh, yes. You simply go to our website, which is right here, cslpalmbeaches.org. And when you do, you go up to this little button that says ways to donate, and it will tell you several ways that you can donate to our center. And so let's say this is our affirmation, our prosperity affirmation, because it is a truism, it is a spiritual law that as you give, you do receive. So let's say together, my investment today is made with the full realization that God is the source of my supply and returns it to me enriched and multiplied.
And so
it is.
Okay, and we're going to end the recording.